Discipline over motivation. Motivation fades, discipline lasts. That's not just a phrase, it's a life truth, because when the fire of motivation burns out, what's left? Discipline. And discipline is what carries you when nothing else will. Discipline over motivation, motivation fades. Discipline lasts. Let that sink in for a moment, because when life presses down on you, when your chest feels heavy, when the weight of everything you're carrying makes it hard to breathe, it's not motivation that saves you, it's discipline, and that discipline is born in the fire of pain. Now, I want you to think about pain differently than you ever have before. Most of us grow up believing pain is punishment, something to escape, something to hide from. We're told comfort is the goal, that life should be smooth, easy, painless. But you and I both know that's not real life. Real life is filled with setbacks, heartbreak, disappointment, failure, betrayal, loss. It's unavoidable. But here's the truth: pain is not your enemy, it's your ally. Pain is the raw material of growth. Pain is the furnace that forges character. Every scar you carry has a story, and if you listen closely, each one whispers the same lesson: you survived. Let me ask you something. Think about the hardest moment of your life. That season you thought you wouldn't make it through, the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the times you whispered to yourself, I can't keep going. Now, you're still here, aren't you? You didn't just survive. You became someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more resilient because of it. That's what I mean when I say pain isn't a wall, it's a doorway. It's not there to stop you, it's there to shape you. But here's the problem most people run into when pain comes: they quit, they fold, they mistake the discomfort of growth for the finality of defeat. They say, this hurts too much, I can't keep doing this, and they walk away from the very thing that could transform their lives. And why? Because they were depending on motivation. Motivation is like a shot of caffeine. It gives you a jolt. It makes you feel unstoppable for a moment, but it fades. And when it fades, all that's left is the pain. And if you've built your life on motivation alone, you'll crumble. But if you've built it on discipline, you'll rise. Think of it like this: imagine two versions of yourself. The old you, the one who gives up when it gets hard, the one who looks at pain and says, this is unfair, this isn't for me, I can't do it. And then imagine the future you, the one who embraces pain as training, who sees every setback as a setup for a comeback. The old you is defined by avoidance. The future you is defined by endurance. And the bridge between the two: discipline. Discipline is what makes you wake up when the bed feels like a trap. Discipline is what makes you keep going when your muscles burn, when your heart aches, when your mind screams quit. Discipline is the voice inside that says, not today, not like this, I will not surrender. And here's where pain comes in. Pain sharpens that voice. Pain is the resistance that builds your strength. You don't grow in comfort, you grow in the struggle. The athlete doesn't get stronger by lifting light weights. They push against resistance. The same is true in life. Pain is your resistance training, and discipline is how you push through it. I remember reading something Jocko Willink said, and it stuck with me forever: discipline equals freedom. At first, that might sound backwards. Freedom from discipline. But think about it. When you're disciplined, you're free from regret. You're free from the chains of excuses. You're free from the burden of what could have been. Discipline gives you the freedom to become who you were meant to be. And do you know how you learn that discipline? Through pain, through the days you don't want to show up, but you do. Through the nights when everything inside you says quit, but you refuse. That's when discipline is carved into your soul. Here's the paradox: the very thing we run from, pain, is the very thing we need to grow. Without it, there's no resilience. Without it, there's no strength. Without it, there's no transformation. Imagine a butterfly trying to emerge from its cocoon. It has to fight, to struggle, to push its way out. And it's in that struggle that its wings are strengthened. If someone cut open the cocoon and made it easy, the butterfly would never fly. The struggle is necessary. Your pain is necessary. The fight you're in right now is necessary because it's preparing your wings. But let me challenge you with this: are you willing to see your pain differently? Are you willing to stop running from it and start learning from it? Because every time you hit rock bottom, every time you face heartbreak, every time you get knocked down, life is handing you a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. And discipline is what decides the outcome. Some of you have been carrying pain for years. pain from childhood, pain from failed relationships, pain from dreams that didn't happen, and maybe you've told yourself, this pain defines me, but no, it doesn't. What defines you is what you do with it. Do you bury it, let it rot inside you, let it poison your spirit? Or do you use it as fuel? Do you take that pain, that disappointment, that heart attack, and say, watch me turn this into strength? Watch me rise from this. Because the truth is, pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your comeback. I want you to imagine 5 years from now, you look back at this moment, this season of pain. How do you want to remember it? Do you want to say, that's when I gave up, when I let pain crush me? Or do you want to say, that's when I got disciplined? That's when I decided no more excuses. That's when I used the very pain meant to break me as the fuel to become unstoppable. That choice is in your hands. And let me remind you, the old you would quit here. The old you would look at the pain and say, I can't. But the future you says, I must, I will, I refuse to let pain define me. I will define it. That's the power of discipline over motivation. Motivation would have you chasing inspiration, waiting for the right mood, the perfect moment. Discipline says, no matter how I feel, I will keep going. So when the pain comes, and it will, don't run, don't numb it, don't bury it. Face it, embrace it, learn from it. Because on the other side of pain is strength you never knew you had. On the other side of pain is the life you've been waiting for. And discipline is the bridge that will take you there. Discipline over motivation, motivation fades. Discipline lasts. If pain is the fire that forges us, resilience is the steel that emerges from it. And here's the truth. Every single one of us has resilience built into us. It's not something reserved for the strongest, the richest, or the luckiest. It's wired into our very survival. The question isn't whether you have resilience, it's whether you've chosen to awaken it. Think about the times in your life when you swore you couldn't keep going. Maybe it was after you lost someone you loved. Maybe it was when your bank account was empty, your relationships shattered, or your health failed you. Remember those moments? You told yourself, this is it, I don't see a way out. And yet, somehow you're here, still standing, still breathing. That's resilience. That's your mind and your spirit saying, not yet. You're not done. But here's where most people get it wrong. They confuse resilience with motivation. Motivation feels good. It pumps you up. It excites you. It gives you that rush that makes you believe anything is possible, but it's temporary. It's like lighting a match in the dark. It burns bright, but it doesn't last. Resilience, on the other hand, is a slow burning fire. It doesn't scream. It doesn't shine in neon lights. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the thing that keeps you going when the fire of motivation is long gone. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about what happens after you fall. It's the psychology of standing up again. Picture a child learning to walk. They wobble, they fall, they hit the ground. Sometimes they cry. But what do? They get up over and over and over again. They don't stop to think, maybe walking isn't for me. They just keep trying until their legs catch up with their desire. That is resilience at its purest. And if you think about it, you once had that same relentless spirit. Somewhere along the way, as adults, many of us let it slip. We face setbacks and decide maybe we're not cut out for it. We give up too soon. We let life convince us that failure means final, but resilience whispers a different truth. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of mastery. Let me ask you this. Why do some people rise from devastation while others stay stuck in it? Why does one person crumble under loss while another rebuilds their entire life from the ashes? The answer lies in psychology. Resilient people don't escape pain. They don't avoid heartbreak or setbacks. They simply interpret them differently. Where one person sees tragedy, another sees a challenge. Where one sees the end, another sees the opportunity for a new beginning. The difference isn't in the circumstances, it's in the mindset. And here's where discipline comes back in. Resilience is not just an emotional trait, it's a disciplined practice. It's teaching your mind to choose courage when fear screams louder. It's choosing consistency when your emotions want chaos. Resilience is waking up every day and saying, no matter what happened yesterday, today I will try again. That doesn't mean the pain vanishes. It doesn't mean the doubt disappears. It means you build the muscle to keep going despite it. Imagine for a moment your darkest hour. Maybe it was a breakup that left you shattered. Maybe it was the loss of a job you built your identity around. Maybe Maybe it was a sickness that made your own body feel like an enemy. In that moment, resilience felt impossible, didn't it? You thought, I can't recover from this, but look at you now. You did. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't clean. It wasn't easy. But step by step, day by day, you put yourself back together. That's the psychology of resilience. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to walk through it, drenched, broken, but still moving. There's a reason why some of the greatest leaders, warriors, and thinkers all preach resilience. Jocko Willink, a man who has seen war and chaos, said it best: a discipline equals freedom, because when you discipline your mind to be resilient, you free yourself from being controlled by circumstances. You stop being a victim of life and you start being a master of it. Life can throw punches, but you stop letting them knock you out permanently. You learn to take the hit, absorb it, and keep fighting. But resilience isn't just about grit. It's also about hope, and hope is powerful. Hope is that tiny voice that says tomorrow might be different. It's the belief that no matter how deep the pit, there's a way out. Resilience feeds on hope, and discipline feeds on resilience. Together, they create something unstoppable. Without hope, resilience dies. Without resilience, hope is just a wish. But when you pair them together, they become a force that no amount of failure can erase. So let me ask you, where are you right now? Are you in a season of heartbreak? Are you struggling to find purpose? Are you battling demons that nobody else sees? If so, remember this: you are not weak because you feel broken. You are not weak because you want to give up. The strongest people you've ever admired once felt exactly like you do. The difference is they chose resilience. They chose to stand when it hurt. They chose to keep fighting when quitting would have been easier. And that choice is available to you right now. I'll tell you this: resilience is not built in comfort. It's forged in the nights you cry yourself to sleep and wake up anyway. It's forged in the mornings you feel empty but show up for work, for your family, for yourself. It's forged when you keep going even when nobody's watching, when nobody's cheering, when nobody even knows the battles you're fighting. That quiet persistence, that's resilience. And the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Just like a muscle, the more you push it, the more it grows. One day you will look back on this season of your life and realize it was the training ground for the person you became. Right now it feels like chaos, but in time it will feel like preparation. And the discipline to keep standing, to keep trying, will be the reason you can look in the mirror and say, I made it. I didn't just survive, I rose. So stop waiting for motivation to carry you. Motivation won't last through the storm, but discipline, resilience will. They'll carry you when you feel weakest. They'll whisper to you when you're ready to quit. And they'll remind you that no matter how many times you fall, you can rise again. That is the psychology of resilience, and it lives inside you. Discipline over motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline lasts. We often think of discipline as something you use at the gym, at work, in the grind of daily life. But what about discipline in the most fragile, most sacred part of your existence, your relationships, your healing, your heart? Because let's be honest, some of the deepest pain you've carried didn't come from a missed deadline or a failed test. It came from people. It came from broken trust, shattered promises, harsh words that cut deeper than knives. And maybe the hardest part, it came from yourself. From the moments you betrayed your own standards, abandoned your own worth, or forgot who you were meant to be. Healing from that kind of pain isn't easy. It's not fast. It's not clean. It's messy. It's confusing. Some days it feels like you're making progress, and other days you feel like you've fallen back to the beginning. But here's where discipline matters more than ever, because motivation won't heal you. Motivation will tell you to get up one morning, maybe journal, maybe go for a walk, maybe forgive someone. But the next day, the spark fades. The wound still bleeds, and you're left wondering if healing is even possible. Discipline, though, discipline says, even when it hurts, I will keep showing up for my healing. Discipline says, I will practice forgiveness, even when bitterness feels easier. Discipline says, I will learn to love myself again, even when my reflection makes me doubt. Think about the people in your life you've lost trust with. Maybe someone lied. Maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they walked away when you needed them most. Rebuilding that trust isn't a one-time act. It's not an apology, not a grand gesture. It's daily discipline. It's the decision to show up consistently, to prove with actions what words can no longer carry. Healing in relationships is about discipline to listen when you'd rather defend yourself, to choose understanding over ego, to rebuild brick by brick instead of demanding the whole house overnight. And sometimes the hardest discipline of all is knowing when to walk away, when the relationship you're trying to save is the very thing destroying your peace. But let's turn the lens inward, because often the relationship most in need of healing is the one you have with yourself. How many promises have you broken to yourself? How many times have you said, tomorrow I'll start, and tomorrow never came? How many times have you looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back? That kind of self-betrayal leaves scars that run deeper than anyone else's actions. And here's the truth: rebuilding trust with yourself takes discipline. Motivation will have you starting a diet, picking up a journal, or hitting the gym for a week. Discipline will carry you through the months and years it takes to become the version of yourself you can finally be proud of again. Forgiveness, too, is an act of discipline. We think forgiveness is a feeling that one day we'll wake up and the anger will be gone, the bitterness erased. But forgiveness isn't a moment, it's a practice. It's waking up every day and deciding, I will not let this wound control me anymore. It doesn't mean what they did was right. It doesn't erase the pain, but it frees you. It allows you to stop bleeding from wounds someone else inflicted. And it takes discipline to do that day after day, especially when your emotions scream for revenge, for anger, for staying stuck. There's another side to healing that many people overlook: discipline in vulnerability. It's easy to wall yourself off, to build walls so high no one can reach you again. After all, if you don't let anyone in, they can't hurt you, right? But isolation is not healing, it's hiding. Discipline means daring to open your heart again, daring to trust again, daring to love again, even knowing you could get hurt. Because the truth is, the richness of life comes through connection. And discipline is what lets you push past the fear of rejection and keep reaching for it. I want you to think about the moments you felt most whole. Chances are it wasn't when you achieved something alone. It was when you shared laughter with someone you trusted, when you cried in someone's arms and they didn't let go, when you were seen not for your performance, not for your image, but for your true self. That's what relationships at their best provide. And to build them, to protect them, to heal them, it takes discipline. Discipline to stay when it's easier to run. Discipline to tell the truth when lies feel safer. Discipline to show love not once, not twice, but every single day. Healing is a process, not an event. It's like tending to a wound on your body. You don't put a bandage on once and expect it to be whole. You clean it, you cover it, you protect it every day until it heals. Emotional wounds work the same way. And that consistency, that refusal to give up on yourself, that is discipline in action. Motivation would have you tending the wound one day and ignoring it the next. Discipline makes you commit to the process until it's complete. Some of you listening right now are carrying guilt. Heavy, crushing guilt. Maybe you hurt someone. Maybe you made mistakes that fractured a relationship beyond repair. Maybe you abandoned people who needed you. That guilt feels like a prison, but discipline can open the door. Discipline to apologize. Discipline to change. Discipline to live in such a way that your actions speak louder than your past failures. No, not every relationship will be restored. Some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. But healing isn't always about fixing what's broken. It's about growing stronger in the cracks, like gold poured into shattered pottery. That ancient Japanese art of kintsugi teaches that the broken piece is more beautiful after repair, not less. The same is true for you. Your scars can make you more whole than before. But here's the hardest truth: healing takes time, and time tests discipline. Because when weeks pass and progress feels slow, you'll want to quit. You'll want to say, what's the point? I'm still hurting. But that's when discipline whispers, keep going. It won't always be like this. Healing doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It arrives quietly one morning when you discipline over motivation, motivation fades, discipline lasts. There comes a moment in every life where you are forced to face yourself. Not the version you that smiles for the world, not the version that plays a role for your family, your coworkers, your friends. I'm talking about the raw, unfiltered, no excuses version of you. The you who stares back from the mirror at night and whispers questions you're too afraid to answer. Who am I becoming? Is this who I want to be? And perhaps the hardest one of all, how much longer will I let this version of me survive? Every life has two characters, the old you and the future you. The old you is comfortable, familiar, predictable. The old you is chained to excuses, to regrets, to patterns that no longer serve you. It's the voice that says, you've tried enough. You're too old. You're too tired. You've failed too many times. The old you is loyal to fear. And then there's the future you, the disciplined, relentless, unstoppable self you know you're capable of becoming. That future you is not perfect, but it is powerful. It's the version of you who says, I will not let pain define me. I will not let failure dictate my story. I will rise again and again until my life reflects the strength I was born with. The contrast between these two versions is everything. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about what you were given or denied in this world. It's about choice. Which version will you feed? Which version will you fight for? Which version will you wake up to every morning? And the truth is, most people spend their lives negotiating between the two. One foot in the comfort of the old, one foot in the dream of the new, never fully commit to either. That's why they stay stuck. Discipline demands a decision. Discipline doesn't allow half commitments. It doesn't tolerate halfway living. It says, choose who you will be and then live it every single day. Let's imagine for a moment the old you. Maybe the old you is overweight, drained of energy, always promising tomorrow will be different. Maybe the old you is drowning in debt, buying things you don't need to impress people who don't care. Maybe the old you hides behind alcohol, food, scrolling distractions, anything to numb the emptiness. Or maybe the old you is simply living small, avoiding risk, never daring to chase the dream that keeps you awake at night. Whatever shape it's, the old you is safe, but it is suffocating. The old you is dying slowly while calling it living. Now picture the future you, not a fantasy, not some unattainable dream, but the real you, the disciplined you. The future you wakes up early, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. The future you has control over their choices, their habits, their mind. The future you doesn't wait for permission, they create opportunities. The future you sets boundaries, heals old wounds, and lives aligned with their values. The future you has scars, but wears them like armor, not shackles. Can you see that version? Can you feel what it would be like to live as them? That's not some distant stranger, that's you. It's already inside you. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. But here's the tension: the old you will not go quietly. It will fight for its survival. It will whisper excuses that sound reasonable. It will remind you of all the times you've failed. It will try to convince you that change is too hard, too late, too impossible. And if you don't train your mind, you will believe it. That's why motivation isn't enough. Motivation gets drowned out by fear. Motivation evaporates in the heat of resistance. But discipline is what silences the old you. Discipline says, I hear your excuses, but I will not obey them. I see your fear, but I will not bow to it. I feel your weakness, but I will act anyway. Transformation is not glamorous. It's not instant. It's not a highlight reel. It's the daily, gritty battle between the old you and the future you. Every choice tips the scale. Every decision feeds one version and starves the other. When you hit snooze, you feed the old you. When you get up and move, you feed the future you. When you stay silent to avoid conflict, you feed the old you. When you speak your truth, even trembling, you feed the future you. Transformation isn't one big moment. It's thousands of small victories stacked over time until one day the future you becomes the only you. I want you to picture this 5 years from now. Which version of yourself do you want to meet? Imagine walking into a room and seeing the old you still stuck, still small, still carrying the same chains, the same regrets. And then imagine meeting the future you, standing tall, eyes clear, soul unburdened, a life that reflects the battles they've fought and won. That version of you exists, waiting on the other side of discipline. And you're the one who decides which version you'll become. The beauty of transformation is that it doesn't erase the old you, it redeems it. Every mistake, every failure, every scar becomes the story of how you built the new. The old you becomes proof that change is possible. Proof that weakness can become strength, that fear can become courage, that brokenness can become wholeness. Transformation is not about rejecting who you were. It's about honoring the fight it took to become who you are now. Jocko Willink said, discipline equals freedom, and nowhere is that more true than in transformation. Discipline frees you from the prison of the old self. Discipline frees you from addiction to comfort, from the lies of procrastination, from the weight of regret. Discipline gives you the freedom to build, to grow, to rise, to live without being haunted by the question, what if I had tried harder? So let me ask you this. What's keeping you chained to the old you? Is it fear? Is it laziness? Is it the lie that you've already missed your chance? Because here's the truth. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. The future you is waiting. And every moment you choose discipline over motivation, you take one step closer. Transformation is possible. It's not reserved for the chosen few. It's for anyone willing to pay the price of discipline. And yes, that price is high. It costs you your comfort. It costs you your excuses. It costs you the familiar life you've built around safety. But what you gain is priceless. You gain freedom, you gain strength, you gain a life that reflects the truth of who you really are. So the question stands before you now. Will you live as the old you, chained to the past, loyal to your fear? Or will you step into the future you, the disciplined, resilient, unstoppable version of yourself that already exists inside you, waiting to be unleashed? The choice is yours. And the moment to decide is now, because every day you wait, the old you grows stronger. And every day you act, the future you takes root. Discipline over motivation, motivation fades, discipline lasts. Transformation is not about waiting for a miracle. It's about building one. Brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. The old you is loud, but the future you is waiting. And the question that will echo through the rest of your life is simple. Which one will you become? So here's my challenge to you starting today. Don't wait for motivation. Build discipline. Build resilience. Build the life you know you're meant to live. And now I want to hear from you. Drop your story in the comments. What struggle are you turning into strength? Because when you share, you don't just inspire yourself, you inspire this entire community. If this message hit your soul, like it, share it, and subscribe to Soul Vibe, where motivation meets soul together. Let's spread strength, courage, and hope. And one last thing, I want you to tell me what motivational themes or struggles should we dive into next. Your voice shapes this community. This isn't just my journey, it's ours.